Welcome again. This is Marina Parr with the Workforce Board. This is our second Workforce Board Student Data Portal webinar. Thank you for taking the time to participate. We really appreciate it. We are going to keep you on mute throughout this webinar, but at the end we will allow you to ask questions via your microphone. Throughout the webinar, you can type in questions into the chat box, and we'll try to keep on top of that to answer questions as they arise, or if we have to, we'll answer them toward the end of the webinar. So let's get started. Thank you again. So I got to use the. So here we are. This is the Workforce Board group. Actually, I'm not pictured there. Our fabulous communications consultant, communications champ, Lindsay Elwanger, would normally be giving this, but she's out sick today, but she's got a great face in that picture. I love it. We also have Darlene Bartlett, Private Career School Pro, Randy Smith, Student Data Superhero, and Barbara Mix, Career Bridge Czar. Very exciting.
Czarina, actually.
Oh, Czarina, yeah. Okay, so here we're going to talk a little bit about this student data portal. We launched this 3 years ago. Some of you might have been around for that launch. It's a very secure site because we're using encryption technology to keep student records private and safe. And this summer we worked hard to really add some more security features to it, but most importantly, help you navigate it better by simplifying some of the web pages. So we're hoping that not only with this webinar, but with the site itself, it will make it easier for you to submit your student data securely and efficiently. Okay, so when does the portal open? This is very exciting news. September 1st, I have some news for you, is tomorrow. So tomorrow the gates open, and we encourage you to start reporting as soon as you can. That gives us time to work with you if you have any issues. Altogether, you have 8 weeks to submit your data, but we'd like to start getting it as soon as you're able to start submitting it. Yes, so the final deadline is Friday, October 28th, right before Halloween, but we hope that you get it in a lot earlier than that. So which programs must be reported? A lot of folks on the phone are from private career schools, and so that's all programs for private career schools. You'll see that there are certain programs. If you were a community and technical college, if you wanted to have a program on the state's eligible training provider list, you would also have to submit data through this data portal, but that's mostly related to ETP. So which students? Well, it's all students that are enrolled between July 1st, 2015 and June 30th of 2016 must be included in your report. So basically everybody that you're serving needs to be included in your data reporting. So I sometimes like to answer this question of why are we doing this in the first place? What's the purpose of submitting this data, which takes time and it takes effort for both you and for us? We use this data to help evaluate education and training programs to see whether the students are actually landing jobs, how much they're earning. This is also information that we use on our Career Bridge website. It helps people make informed decisions about their education and training. And we also provide it to legislators and policymakers, and in many ways it helps the private career school sector show its worth, show its value, because we do the data analysis and bring out that employment and earnings for that sector. Okay, a final reminder, you must update Career Bridge as soon as possible. If you haven't done so already, it is imperative that you update your programs on Career Bridge. We take that information from Career Bridge and migrate it to our student data portal, and they need to match exactly. So if you've updated programs, if you've changed names, if you've added things, we need to see that reflected on Career Bridge, and please do so as soon as possible. That's the beginning of our presentation. I'm turning it over now to Randy Smith, who's on our research team and does a lot with our eligible training provider list.
Hello. So I'm going to walk you through our different websites to show you how to do the actual student data reporting. The first website to go to is our main homepage at wtb.wa.gov, and this is going to have a link to the student data portal and then other information you need to use the system. And the link is right here where you signed up for the webinar. On the right-hand side are a bunch of links that you could go through. The first one is if you are not already signed up, if you don't have a user account already set up, then you're going to have to fill out this required authorization form, which looks like this. And what happens is that you'll fill in your name and information about your school. You'll print it out, sign it, scan it, and then email it back to us. You could also mail it to us via U.S. mail if you wanted. But we're the ones who set up the student accounts, or the accounts for the schools, and so that's the only way to get an account. You can't get it directly through the website. Once you've done that, you can read through our user guide. That's going to have a lot of information about the different steps and the different information that's needed. And it's quite lengthy, but it's going to cover everything that this presentation did plus more. So just give that a look through if you have any questions. If you have more questions, you could always contact us, of course. The next thing that you'll need is the actual spreadsheet, which is the blank spreadsheet. And this has been updated for this year. It now has these messages that show up in a lot of the different cells to explain more about it. But sometimes this is actually cut off, so you can't read all the information in that cell. If it is, then remember that you can always go to this code sheet, which is here, and this is going to have information about each particular cell that you fill in. And the idea behind this sheet is that each line is going to be one student. You'll fill out information. Let me move the microphone closer here. Can you hear me now? So each line is one student, and you're basically reporting about what happened with that individual student during this program year. So it's July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. We're looking for a snapshot of what happened during that time. And so keep that in mind. We're basically asking what the status was as of June 30th of this year. So the next step is the actual student data system. And you go to this link here, and this is where you sign in. And so it looks like this. At the bottom, there's a Contact Us section that'll give us the email that you could email us back, or a direct phone number that you'll talk to a live person, and we'll answer any questions that you have. If you forget your password, click this link here, the Forgot Your Password link, and that will bring you to this page. You just enter your account information, or your email that we sent to. That's how you sign up. We send an initial email. You put in the email address, hit reset, and it will send an email back to you with a temporary password that you could log in as. And the portal isn't open yet. We've got until tomorrow morning, and so I'm going to go into the test portal that you could so that we can show you the process.
Hey, Randy, I'm just going to quickly interject. This is Marina. The other thing we caution people, if you do forget your password and you are going to have it reset, give it some time. If you continually keep pressing the Forget Your Password link, Randy, isn't it true that it may reject you ultimately?
It may temporarily lock you out. And what happens is when you sign in, it will say your account's locked. And we can't manually unlock it. You just have to wait a little bit. It's about an hour or so that it unlocks it, if that ever does happen. But if you just reset it once, wait for the email. If the email never arrives, then just go ahead and give us a call, and we could work with you at that time. So we'll go ahead and log in with our test account, and this is Lindsay's awesome school. So this is the same thing that you'll see. Make sure that your school is here. If that's not your school, then we made a big mistake, and just go ahead and give us a call. If you have more than one school, then you'll actually have a screen where you can select which one, and then it'll bring you right into this screen. And you'll basically just follow these steps in order. The first step is a link to your programs, and these are the programs that we think are active as of that school year, so the July through June, and these are the ones that we expect you to report on. If this list isn't correct, then we're going to have to update CareerBridge and then finally update this. And there isn't a way for you to update it in this system. We have to do it ourselves. So just go ahead and update CareerBridge and then give us a call to let us know that it's been updated. You could always navigate using this bar here. If you ever get lost, you could click on Data Report and you'll bring you to this page, and these steps are also on the left-hand side. The second step is to view your continuing students. These are students that were reported as continuing through the end of last school year. So in other words, they were still enrolled July 1st, 2015. And you could then click the Export button, and it will download a spreadsheet with these students pre-filled. The only thing that's not done at that time, and we expect you to report on what happened after July 1st. So that's why we ask that you report on all your continuing students. Towards the end is a code for what happened to that student, whether they graduated or withdrew, continued another year, and you'll have to fill in this part of the information, but the rest of it is what you reported as of last year. Let me see here. The next step is the instructions, and so this is just another link to that same portal user's guide in case you ever need another link, and of course there's one on our agency page as well. Once you're finished, you click Start Your Report, and these are the last steps. The first step, step 4, is where you would upload your students, and you have two choices. You could either fill in an Excel file and then upload it, or you could enter them one at a time in the system itself. So this is through the web page. You just fill out a form. If you only have a couple students, this is actually faster than using the Excel file. If you don't have any students enrolled during that school year at all, then you fill out step 5. You would click the reason, and then you would certify that there's no students at all. But let's go ahead and head to the Excel template, because this is how most people are going to use the system. So I'll start on that now. Let me load a example that's pre-filled. Recent. So this is an example where it has 5 different students. These first 3 columns have to be filled in with the exact location, program title, and award type that's listed on this screen. So when you're in the student data portal, you go to your programs, and then these programs have the exact spelling, or that have to have the exact spelling on the Excel spreadsheet. You could always export it if you are having trouble. You could export it, and it'll have the exact spelling needed. You could just copy these 3 columns directly into your student data report. Let me see here.
Do you want to tell them how they put all the programs in one spreadsheet?
Yeah, so in the spreadsheet, it isn't one spreadsheet per program. You could only upload one spreadsheet total for the entire school, and so you'll want to list all the students that you had during that school year, and you would have the different programs. If you have more than one, you would just list the different types just all in one spreadsheet. And even if you have only one program, you do have to put in the location, program title, and award type of that particular program. Then we have student information, so we have the name of the student, the address of the student, the middle initial you could leave blank if you don't know, the full address of the student, the phone number of the student, in case we ever have to contact them, and we generally don't. I don't think we ever have, but it's nice to have. The Social Security number of the student. On this spreadsheet, you can't enter a Social Security number with a dash in it. It'll reject it. That's because it won't upload with dashes. If you have a spreadsheet with dashes, you could just delete the dashes out and then paste it in without the dash. The next is the birth date. You cannot leave this one.
Oh, sorry, this question. What happens if she doesn't have a Social Security number?
Yeah, you could leave the Social Security number blank if you don't know it, and that it'll take it with a blank on that. The birth date you can't leave blank. If you don't know their birth date, enter it as 119999, and it'll take it as an unknown. Let me scroll back over here. So. The next is Hispanic. This one you leave blank if you don't know. Otherwise, use those codes, 1 for Hispanic, 2 for not. Race, it's similar, but you can't leave it blank. You have to put in a 9 if you don't know their race. Their gender, you leave blank if you don't know. Otherwise, it's M or an F. And that's not case sensitive, so if you have something you could just paste in, it'll work. Disability, you leave blank if you don't know, or if you haven't asked. The veteran, same thing, you leave blank if unknown. Prior education, you do have to put in a code all the time. It's 99 for unknown, but this is the education that the student had before they arrived at your school. The start date that they started education at your school. Exit date is only if they successfully or unsuccessfully left. So this is the code for what happened to the student. Whether they graduated is a 1. If they withdrew or terminated, it's a 2. 3 is still enrolled as of June 30th, 2016. Seldom used code is 4 for a military leave of absence. We don't get very many of those. But if it's 1 or 2, you fill in the exit date. If it's 3 or 4, you leave this blank because they haven't exited yet. The earned award type, you could either paste it from the award type of the program, or you could type in whatever you want. It's just for our notes for the actual earned type. And GPA, you would enter a number from 0 to 4. If you have a different coding system and you want to report GPA, then you would have to convert to that system. Pass-fail, you don't have to fill in both GPA and pass-fail. You would just do one or the other, and then an F for failed or P for passed. So let's try uploading this spreadsheet.
Randy, before you go there, talk about the Hispanic and the race again, because you're saying that they have to enter a 1 or a 2 for Hispanic, and then they can't leave race blank. So if they're Hispanic, what do they put in under race?
So this is an odd thing. That Hispanics actually not considered a race, so that you would put in a race in addition to that. If you don't know, if they have only said Hispanic, for example, just put in unknown. But every once in a while, somebody will say that they're both Hispanic and one of these races listed, and then you would put that in. Most people will put in a combination of Hispanic and white just because they don't know. But if you don't actually know, go ahead and put in unknown.
So sorry, I clarified that. I'm a little still confused. So if the person is just Hispanic, and then you put 1 for Hispanic, yes, and then in the other race column, what would you put down for them?
Yeah, if you don't know, if you've only asked if Hispanic was part of your race list, then just go ahead and put in a 9 for unknown.
Okay.
So
1 and a 9 for anyone who really is Hispanic for the most part.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's because Hispanics consider it ethnicity, not a race. In any case, once you fill that out, then you save it with your school's name. That helps us sometimes when we're tracking down these files. So you would just We got a question that came in asking about what happens if we don't have a final GPA. You would just leave it blank because they haven't actually completed the course. If they have a 1 or a 2 exit code, in other words, they dropped out or they successfully exited, that's when you would add the GPA. Otherwise, just go ahead and leave it blank. You can add it if you have that in there, but it doesn't really matter to us. So when you have this spreadsheet, so you would start either from your blank spreadsheet or your continuing student spreadsheet. You would save it with your school's name on your desktop usually. So we will just change this name. And once that's saved, then you could then upload it. So you go back to your student data portal, you go to start your report, and you click upload Excel file. And it brings up this little screen where you could choose your file that you want to upload. So you click that, it brings up a little browser window where you would find your document, and here it is. And then once you've done that, you go ahead and upload it. And if you already have students, it'll bring up a pop-up asking if you really want to replace the students. Because you could only upload one spreadsheet, it always blanks out any students you have entered at the time you upload it. So once you hit OK, it brings up this wait screen. And then if you have any errors, it'll show this green box. Once it shows that, go ahead and click this link that says View All Report Errors. It'll bring up a special page that has details about what errors occurred in that spreadsheet. It'll have the row number, and this matches the row number on Excel. These row numbers here, and also information about what column had the error, and then a description of the error. So let's start with the first error on your spreadsheet. We have a question about whether the data definitions and code sheet is the same as last year. Yes, it is. And in fact, the spreadsheet, although it's been updated, the old one still works. We haven't changed anything except having additional feedback for you. So let's start with this one. Location, program, award type did not match on 3 rows. So we're going to go to the Your Programs page, and you have to make sure that the program the student was enrolled in has to match one of these lines. So let's go ahead and see if we can make it match. So we'll start with this spreadsheet. It was lines 3, 5, and 6 had the problem. So looks like this one has certificate of completion instead of certificate. So we'll have to copy that down. And there's 2 more errors. It looks like How to Be Cool is not a program. So sometimes, sometimes we have you have multiple names for the same program or a shortened name. Even something as small as an extra space in the program name can cause it to reject it. If you don't know why it did this, then just go ahead and copy out of this screen the actual text from the screen, so you could just outline it. Otherwise, you could just download it and then copy it from there. So I'll copy and then paste it in here. And the last one, it looks like Seattle is a location listed here. Seattle isn't a location of the school. If you did open a Seattle location and you want to report it, then again you'll have to go to CareerBridge, update your locations, and then go ahead and let us know that you've made that update and you need it entered into the student data portal. And then we'll let you know. It'll show up on this screen, then you could report it. But in this case, it was just a mistake. You could correct it and then try uploading it again. So once you've done that, let's go ahead and save this file, and we'll try re-uploading. So you just go to the Start Your Report page again, click the Upload link. There is a link on the error page if you're on that screen to directly upload. So let's go ahead and upload it. Looks like there's still errors, so we'll go ahead and click on Report Errors. And it says that there's an error in row 4 in the birth date column that you must enter a birth date for all students. So we'll go ahead and go click on 4 again, and then scroll over to where it has the birth dates. Looks like we didn't know one, so we'll just enter the placeholder 11999, like that. And we'll try re-uploading again. And this is the link directly on the page to upload a new copy. And you would just go ahead and choose the file again, re-upload it, and this one worked. So this is the screen that will show if it read them all. That doesn't necessarily mean that all the information was correct. So we encourage you to click on the student data page, which is actually the list of all the students, and this is the way we, or the system read it in. This is a rather long page. It scrolls off all the way to the right. You could view it as, instead of a list of students, you could view it as a form. That will show one form per person. If you have an error with just one person and you want to try to figure it out, you could use this form view. Once you're satisfied that you've uploaded the correct data for the outcomes of all your students, then you click this last one called Certify and Submit. If you have a program without any students in it for that school year, then you would this would show an error here. It would say that that there's no students for this. Actually, let me just go ahead and do that, because I think I accidentally put in the wrong. Let me see here. So let's delete this one. Clear this out. Oh, that's odd.
If you make line 6 Tacoma, it'll do it.
Yeah, okay. That's easier. Save it and then re-upload it. So start your report, upload Excel file. We'll go ahead and upload it again. Okay, and it should still work. Okay, and then if we go to Certify and Submit, we now have 0 students in this one program. And what happens is that if there's 0 students, you can't submit it yet. You just have to click this little pencil here, and then give a reason for it. If it wasn't offered, you could say that it wasn't offered. If you didn't have any students enrolled, you could say that. And you could always add more information here if you want us to know. But otherwise, you would just enter that and click the Save button. And then it now says that, that there's no errors. And you could click this box that says, I certify that it's correct, and then you submit it. And then once it's submitted, you can't unsubmit it or change it. And this is going to be your only feedback that we've got the report. This little box that says congratulations. We don't actually send out an email or anything like that. But you are done at this point, and that's how you do all your student data reporting. So I think now we could just open it up for any questions.
Randy, it's Marina, and Darlene here, I thought, asked a great question, or posed a question that many people probably wonder about, is why do we need Social Security numbers? You know, it is a lot of hassle and there's privacy issues involved, but in actual fact, we need those Social Security numbers to track employment and earnings. Maybe
I could fill that in more for you. So the way this is used is we take these individual student records and then we try to match them up against the unemployment rolls of all the different states to see whether they were employed anywhere under a covered position. Virtually all jobs are covered, and the only way we could do that match is through the Social Security number. So basically, if you have a student that doesn't have a Social Security number, then they're just unmatched, and they're basically dropped from our analysis about whether they're employed, you know, your employment rate or your level of compensation, and so that could actually affect your data report, you know, if you don't have any of them. So what we encourage you to do is ask the students for their Social Security number, but they're not required to give it, and you're not required to submit it to us. But we do ask that you ask for it, and then if you can supply that information, it's for your best interest, because that's the only way we could really track employment. And what happens is that if you don't have any Social Security numbers, we're going to have to manually go through them, and then you'll end up having to do that. You'll have to actually survey your students about their outcome.
I was just going to add, it's also one of the hurdles that the workforce board faces with self-employment, isn't it? Because we have some programs that do a lot of training for people who end up being self-employed.
Yeah. So what happens is that most people who are self-employed don't elect to have unemployment insurance. They don't elect to pay that, and so they won't show up on the unemployment insurance rolls. And then at that point, they just show up as basically being unemployed. And what happens then, if you have a high enough level of self-employment, is that we would just go to that second stage where we do a survey of the students. So does anybody else have more questions? Like I say, you could, it looks like we do have a question. We are going to put the PowerPoint up on the web page, and we'll also have a copy of this presentation as a video. You could either ask through your microphone, or you could ask through the chat box if you have any more questions. Let me go ahead and unmute everybody. There we go. So everybody's unmuted now, so just to let you know.
Kim Green has.
Okay, so is it possible to do encrypted Social Security numbers showing only the last 4 digits? No, but remember that and that's because we can't match only in the last 4. We have to have a full Social Security number to do a match. But the connection to our website's encrypted, and the data in our website is encrypted in storage. And so it should be a very secure system. We do realize that people are really sensitive about the Social Security numbers, especially when they're combined with the birth date and full name. But we do really need that much information to do these matches. So any more questions? Like we say, you have about 8 weeks to get this in. We encourage you to do it sooner than later to give us more time to work out any bugs. And if you have any more questions, feel free to call us. So the recording is going to be up on our website. We're going to put it on that same student data portal page. I'll go ahead and go to it. So you would go to your to our homepage, which is this one, wtb.wa.gov, and then you would click on this second link. We're going to change the text of this from the actually it's the third link. Where is it? There it is. Student data webinar. This is going to change to a student data portal. You could also click on private career schools, and this is a permanent link that doesn't go away, where it says annual student data report under this gray box of information for school administrators. And this applies not just to private career schools, but all schools for your student data report. And so we're going to put this, we're going to replace this box with with a copy of the presentation and a copy of the PowerPoint. So any more questions? Okay, so like I say, if you have any more questions, feel free to give us a call. Our contact information is on this page, on both this page at the bottom for the data reporting system. This is the best way to contact us because it allows us to handle a whole bunch of calls at the same time because they're only emails. Otherwise, just go ahead and go to the student data portal in the Contact Us section. It'll have a direct phone number for us, and we'll, feel free to call us, and we'll help you out of any trouble that you have. And I should add that whenever you upload a spreadsheet, we do get a copy of it stored in this system so that we could see what you're looking at and work you through any errors. So if there's no more questions, I'll go ahead and end the presentation. Good luck, everybody.
Okay.